Summer in France. Now you're probably thinking about the sun, sand, cheese, aperitif, and maybe macaron. That's what I was hoping for too. Until my mother said something that changed everything. Forget the sea. My summer was about to get a lot dustier and louder. Alright, let me explain. We like to spend time in France during the summer. The weather's nice and we get to be with family. But I still need a space to be productive in. So I bought myself a cheap sit-stand desk, way more ergonomic than sitting on the couch or at the dining table. Plus, I already had an old monitor, so I could make a decent setup. No LEDs though, but I can survive without those for a little while. Anyway, the desk arrived and I started building it up. The desktop came in two parts. A design choice that made it easy to ship, but ended up being the first component of the catalyst. I'm warning you, this is not for sensitive souls, so skip ahead unless you want to see true pain. 3, 2, 1. Ay. Ande f***o. Oh, I dropped the table on my foot. Yeah, this desktop is definitely getting burned down. I might need a new one. The second part of the catalyst took the form of a human being I've known since the moment I was born. My mother. Now, to give you some context, she's been absolutely thrilled with all my builds so far. And she's an absolutely super fan of LEDs. Right. That's a huge fat lie. Let's put things in perspective. She's given my wife's quiche more praise over a 20-minute video call than my LED door got during an entire month in France. Yes, that quiche was delicious, but still, maybe the secret is, an LED quiche? Anyway, when my mom came to check out the sit-stand desk I had built, she said something that shook me to my core. I get emotional thinking about it. So it's hard for me to rewatch this, but here you go. Maintenant que t'as dit ça, oui, forcément, hein? Everyone heard that, right? My mom wants to see some LEDs, so... Was I finally being understood? Had my endless hours of tinkering finally been recognized? Of course not, she was just joking. As mothers tend to do when their son has a strange fascination for brightly colored electronic components. But her words reignited my maker's flame. To me, this wasn't a joke. This was a challenge. Almost a plea to prove my newly acquired but still awkward crafting skills. Ben voilà, maintenant il faut que j'achète des LED apparemment. Non. Ah bah si. Ben non. Ah bah si. Voilà, tu peux travailler debout là. Ah ouais, c'est vachement bien. All I could think after a quick back and forth with my father was, challenge accepted. But I wasn't about to waste beautiful LEDs on that ugly desktop that nearly broke my foot. No, no, no. I'd need a new one. Maybe I could make one for cheap. No more relaxing summer, just sawdust, sweat, and LEDs. If I'm going to build a new desktop for the sit-stand desk, I'm gonna need wood. But wood ain't cheap and I wasn't about to repeat the coffee table fiasco. So I wandered around my parents' house, searching for the solution. And just like in a fantasy movie, the answer to my needs was in the attic. The floorboards. Beautiful heavy planks. Oak, I think. Perfect for a desk. And let's see if we can give them a second life. And honestly, their only job was to stop people from falling through the ceiling, so really, it should be fine if I take a couple, right? I'm sure no one will notice. Calm down, I'm just kidding, of course. I had approval from my dad to take a few of them, and he helped me make sure the attic was still safe. With the wood secured, it was time for online shopping. First, LEDs, obviously. Then Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Don't ask me why, I don't know. Nerdy nostalgia maybe. Finally, the most important part, la pièce de résistance. a small plastic bonsai. What I didn't realize at the time was how important it actually turned out to be. So this is causing more trouble than I thought. So now I don't have a choice, I do have to finish this table. No more hesitating and backtracking. Let's throw them out. Let's get to work. Here are the 5 steps to make a rustic desktop. Step 1. Get the boards out of the attic in a very safe and completely controlled manner. No car was harmed in the process. Step 2. Get the rusty nails out. I'm not a big fan of rusty nails. I stepped on a big one as a kid and I had to walk on the edge of my foot for months before finally needing surgery. 0-star experience. Would not recommend. So, how'd they go? Be back after lunch. And some red wine and cheese, of course. Step 3. Rough cutting time. I'm using my father's little Ryobi circular saw. But halfway through the first board, I thought the battery had died. Unfortunately, changing it didn't help. I guess those boards are just too hard. So I finished cutting that board by hand before switching to a corded circular saw. One of the boards was super twisty, so I put it on the side, grabbed a new one from the attic, and cut it to size. Step 4. Glue up. I first tried to plane the edges to make it easier to glue them, with a hand plane I had picked up at my late grandfather's workshop. It worked, kind of, as you'll see. But then for the glue up, I didn't have clamps long enough, so I had to get creative, and somehow it all worked out. I first glued up 2 boards together. Then, the following day, while it was raining, I glued up the third one by doubling up the clamps. It was kind of junky, but it held. Let's get the desktop out and see if the gluing of our last board actually worked. This is heavier than I thought. I hope the desk can actually lift it. We'll see. Step 5. Admire the result. Rustic? Yeah. Flat? Nope. Amazing? Debatable. My dad didn't look super impressed. But I knew one thing that could save this desktop. Sanding. Lots and lots of sanding. The plan was simple. Sand the boards flat with my dad's belt sander. Only problem? It didn't work. So I tried pretty much everything else. First, hand planes from my grandfather's workshop, but I'm still pretty terrible with those. I'm getting better though. Then, a drill with a sanding disc, an orbital sander, an electric hand planer. Tool after tool, pass after pass, my father and I got one side kind of flat. But it took forever, and the thought of doing it on the other side, pure dread. I literally just came out and it starts raining. Let's not worry about the other side for now. It's raining, so I can't do more sanding anyway. Plus, we've got another problem right in front of us. As you can see, the boards were only glued in the middle. So I had some noticeable gaps. It was time to pull out the LED door main component, wood filler, and fill some gaps. Now that I had a somewhat flat side, I was able to cut the desktop to its final size of 120 cm by 60 cm. It's not perfect, but it's pretty darn good for just sanding. Good enough. It was finally time to address the other side. I was not looking forward to it, but then family came in clutch again. I was visiting my cousin nearby, and in his garage I spotted not one, but 2 hidden treasures. First, a working belt sander that allowed me to make quick work of the other side of the table. and I then added wood filler and some construction adhesive in the gaps, just to be safe. Are you enjoying watching a nerdy guy try to make cool stuff? If so, please consider hitting the subscribe button. There's plenty more on the way. As for the second treasure my cousin had... Alright guys, so I wasn't planning to put LEDs inside this desk before, but my cousin has a router that I'm gonna borrow, and I have an idea, and I think you're gonna like it. Keep watching if you wanna see how I'm gonna integrate LEDs within this oak desktop. Let's see. First though, we gotta do some more sanding. Yay! Yes, a router! My dad didn't have one, and without it, my plan was just to slap LEDs under the desktop. Which, if you saw the coffee table project, you know it didn't end well. With a router though, the sky is the limit. Hello! Très bien.
Je te l'ai enlevé.
Nickel, bah c'est
voilà.
parfait ça.
Tu vas faire quoi du coup?
En fait, je vais utiliser la défonceuse pour enlever 1,5 cm, donc à peu près la moitié là.
Ouais.
Et pareil là.
Ouais.
Et en fait, je vais installer ça, regarde.
Pour qu'il y ait vachement de contact.
Donc tu peux y aller, hein.
Ah ouais, j'avoue.
Alors par contre, tu vois, c'est pas tout à fait droit, mais c'est pas grave.
C'est bien comme ça, si tu renverses, ça tombe pas par terre, ça fait une claque.
La ponceuse à bande que tu m'as
Ouais.
prêtée, ça m'a sauvé la vie.
Tu m'étonnes, mais trop bien, écoute.
Ah, et du coup là, c'est pas mal, hein.
Ouais.
Ooh, smooth. En plus, t'es dans la vidéo, tu m'amènes des outils et tout. Time to finish off the sanding before we start carving this table up. So I spent the entire day sanding, and here's the result. This is the top part. Oh my god, this is pretty damn good. Although not quite straight, it is still pretty damn nice. And then under we got this. And that's also pretty darn good. So I use a level. Oh wait, it's actually surprisingly straight. Almost. Just this part here that is too low. But you can see the gap here and there. Oh well. Thanks to my cousin's router, the project leveled up. I could now make perfect channels for aluminum LED tracks and get a clean and professional look. Maybe not professional, unless you're in the sport arena, but definitely clean. Should be ready to use. Tomorrow I can just like... And don't worry, I'm not falling for this desktop like I did with a coffee table. Honestly. Yeah, I'm liking this table a little bit too much. This one is nothing more than a summer fling, and I'm carving it up. First thing first, I ordered some aluminum LED tracks. Then I routed channels for them along the underside of the tabletop. Each channel needed 2 router passes, but my first 2 tries were too small. So it got a third pass to allow the track to fit.
Ah, tu te rapproches.
Ça a encore bougé. It wasn't perfect. Unfortunately, one of the clamps slipped, which left me with a nice little design feature, shall we say. But compared to the LED door project, that's 3 fewer mistakes. Call it progress. Tu vois, quand c'est bien, ça te fait des belles rainures toutes propres. My dad helping with the sanding, my cousin lending tools, family effort all around. When blood and LEDs align, good things happen. So here's to family, as Dominic Toretto would say, and a big thanks to everyone who helped. I really appreciate it. Ta-da!
Why you ruin your table?
Yeah. Yeah, no one will see it's under. Ouais.
C'est joli comme ça.
Ouais, à part ça là.
Ah ouais, mince.
Tu vois? C'est joli, hein?
Ah bien.
We're done with the dirty work. Now I just need to stain the table and install the LED tracks. Before adding the aluminum tracks and LEDs, I had to finish the wood. And for that, I went with the only finish I actually know how to use, Rubio Monocoat, or Monocouche, as I translated it for my parents. I don't know why, but it sounds funky in French. Rubio's pricey, but it looks great. And this time I actually let it cure for 48 hours before touching it again. More progress! But there was one blemish I couldn't ignore.
Let's do it.
Dark black streaks running straight through one of the boards. Rot, burn, a curse from the upside down, who knows? Unfortunately, sanding didn't fix it. It goes all the way through, and it's quite unfortunate.
Bah, c'est pas parfait, mais c'est ça. C'est comme je dis toujours dans mes vidéos, c'est suffisant. Avec les outils que j'avais, avec le bois, avec tout. Ah, le noir, c'est pas terrible, mais bon, ça fait partie de la vie. Hein. Tu crois que c'est brûlé? Ouais, c'est brûlé. Mais si profondément comme ça?
So, my backup plan? Hide it with stuff. A monitor stand, a plastic bonsai tree, and maybe even Yu-Gi-Oh card boxes. Because, well, that's all I have really.
I'm gonna let it dry for 2 days, then we install the tracks, and we're done.
To install the LED tracks, I went with screws. It was that or glue, and I like the idea of being able to remove them. So that meant having to drill some holes in the aluminum tracks, which shouldn't be too dangerous, right? Unless you're dealing with small and sharp pieces, you know. Yeah, I cut myself. Just a tiny one. Blood for the blood god, as the followers of Khorne, Chaos God of Warhammer, would say. I was more of a Dark Elves player in my youth, though. Thanks to the offering, the track installation went smoothly, and soon enough the desk lit up for the first time.
Très bien, muy bien.
That's cool.
Now let's put the covers and make it super cool.
The plastic diffusing covers was very satisfying to install, giving me countless pops.
Perfecto. Oh my god! It looks amazing! Wow! Look at this. Oh my god, so cool. This is how you marry the old style with the new style. Love it.
The corners were a bit tricky to cut, but I think it ended up looking pretty good.
And I think I'm gonna just do a little bit of that. A little this, a little bit of that.
The table is ready, time to bring it up.
There we go.
Noise transition, bro. The old desktop removed and placed somewhere safe where it can't break any toes.
Ah, this one I really don't want to drop on my feet, that's for sure.
pretty nice. Now on to installing the new top. I drilled holes, mounted it onto the legs, and added a net for cable management. Oh. Oh. Oops. Let's turn it off for now. I took a few minutes to admire my work, because remember rule 2.5 from the LED door project. Always admire your work and pat yourself on the back. Not bad, hey? Now for the final touches. Nice little mouse mat, MacBook, mouse. Okay, then I got this little thing. I'm missing some nerdiness. My sister got me this for last Christmas, I think. So let's just put it here. Because, yeah, I don't really like those black marks on the wood. Don't know what it is, burn, rot. You know, it is what it is. Some nerdy Yu-Gi-Oh stuff. And there it was, the finished desk. It's not perfect, nor flat. It's not even good, but it's good enough. Alright, my parents gonna come check it out. Fermez les yeux. Voilà. Tada.
Je reste sans voix.
Ouais, je comprends.
Ah, c'est superbe. Superbe, très joli.
Waouh. Et le petit bonsaï. Mignon.
Très joli.
Magnifique.
C'est plus beau que l'autre. Hein.
Bon, vous aurez pas honte d'avoir ça dans la chambre, c'est bon? Quand vos amis viennent, ça fera un sujet de discussion.
On va louer la chambre, la chambre.
Ben oui. Did you hear what my mother said? You know, right after all the overacting, when her true personality came out? Oh, a little bonsai, it's cute. After all the effort, the sweat, the blood, and the family drama, she went straight for the $20 plastic tree. And honestly, that feels about right. But my mom still liked the desk, and my dad was genuinely impressed. And I think that's pretty awesome.